That means it does include the HTTPS:/. Again, this information is brought to you by Calm Clear Communications on behalf of Christopher Johnson. Please be sure to follow their page, and thank you for tuning in to Brenda's VIP call. HTTPS:/.
Oh my gosh, that was awesome. The only thing is my YouTube started playing in the background at the very end of that. But wow, look at that. And Megan, that wasn't even rehearsed. You and I just impromptu did that, right?
Yes, ma'am. This is how we work. This is how Chris has taught us.
That's right. Well, I want to say good morning and welcome to all of you. Let me just stop my screen share for a second. If you would be so kind as to put your videos on, I would appreciate it because I can see your lovely faces and make eye contact with you. If you are feeling camera shy or not camera ready, I totally get it because this will be sitting on YouTube. And maybe you don't want people to know that you're on here because you're working but looking, or for whatever reason, it's early in the morning. I'm kind of half done. I got my hair done, but I'm not quite done. By the end of the show, I'll have my makeup done. It'll be magically done. But I understand some people are just feeling camera shy, and I don't want you to feel like you have to, but it does help me to connect with you as individuals because this is the virtual world that we are interacting with. I want to welcome all of you. This is what I refer to as Friday VIP Job Seeker Office Hours. I want to give a quick intro and reminder about what that means. This is every Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern. We've done this on holidays even. And some people say, well, what about, next week here in the US, it's Thanksgiving. What about the Friday after? I mean, I'll be on. If you want to come on, it will probably be a smaller group. That's okay. There is going to be 1 week in December where I won't be on, and I will give the reins over to somebody else to take on for me. But other than that, we'll pretty much be here every Friday. So I had someone ask last week, it was Veterans Day, and they said, are you doing it on Veterans Day? And I said, yes, because the reality is most, I think just about all of the group here, with the exception of a couple of us that are helping, are in between successes right now and not going to work. So every day is a day off for you. So why not keep Friday as per scheduled? If you can join us and make it, great. If you can't, that's okay. We're here for you whenever you come back. My goal is not to see you on these calls, not because I don't like seeing your faces, but because my goal is to get you back to work. And in the meantime, I wanted to create this safe space for you, this place that you can go to every week where you know that you are welcome. And by the way, as you look around the room today, if there's people who've been here for a while and we're not seeing them anymore, I want to encourage you to reach out to them and check in and say, hey, how are you doing? I noticed you weren't on the Friday call. Is everything okay? Are you back to work? Check in. And, I think it's important to know that someone noticed that you weren't there, right? So if you see some familiar faces that you haven't seen in a while, please feel free to reach out and say hi to them. All right, we've got about 40 people on the call right now. I want to go through quickly and say hello and good morning to all of you. Good morning, Alicia, Angela, Angie, Becky, Brian, David, Dean, Eleanor, Elizabeth Ann, Faye, Gerard, Julia, Janelle, Janine, Jay, we have, I guess, two Janines, a Janine D and a Janine B. Jeff, Jennifer, Jerry, nice to see you. Jill, Joan, Jude, Kira. There was a lot of J's today. Did you notice that? Laura, Lisa, Megan, Michelle, Mindy, Nancy, Rosemary, Sarah, Scott, Simone, Stewart, Sue, Teresa, Tom, Veronique, did I say that correctly? I hope I did. Wendy and Vic. All right, she gave me the thumbs up. She's with the happy Thanksgiving background. Good morning and welcome to all of you. So this is VIP Job Seeker Office Hours. VIP, because you are a very important person. Regardless if you're working or not, you are important to me and you are important to the community that is with you here today. VIP Friday Job Seeker Office Hours every Friday. We covered that already. So every Friday, 10 to 11 a.m. You just have to register it once for the year, and then it's the same link every Friday. You should get the calendar thing that allows it to become a recurring appointment. Now in December, I'm going to set up the registration link for 2023, and that will be a different Zoom. So stay clear for your email box for that. And then the office hours part is, this is a place I want you to come to celebrate successes, to share announcements with the group, and to have a place to ask questions. And what I'd like to do right now is I want you to go inside chat. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to introduce ourselves. And in your introduction, what I want you to do, and I'm going to put a little example. Oops, my thing is not loading this morning. So what I want you to do is I want you to tell us your targeted job title and your targeted geographic area. And then also please put in your LinkedIn URL with the full HTTPS. Now I just put in text in chat here, Zoom intro, because I have a shortener service where I can type in code. I use a service called Text Expander to do that. And I just shut down my computer last night and rebooted. And some of the automated apps I use, like Text Expander, don't automate. I got to like turn it back on again. So I just put it back in there again. So what we're looking for is your targeted job title, your targeted geographic area, and your LinkedIn URL with the full address, the HTTPS. Joan, did you see how with your HTTPS, there's probably a space between the slash mark and the W? That's why the link didn't work. So try that again if you could. Megan, I love how you shortened that. That's such a succinct way of saying it. So let's see who we have on. I'm going to read a couple of these as we're getting started. That way, you know, this is live. This isn't like a pre-recorded thing. Let's see. We have on here Alicia from beautiful Colorado, looking at transitioning into learning and development coming from early childhood education. So good morning and welcome to you, Alicia. We have Jeff Brace, who's looking for a higher level executive or admin assistant in Central Virginia and has experience in SAP and Salesforce. I'm curious, Jeff, are you interacting with the Salesforce and SAP pages on LinkedIn and getting into comments there regularly? That might be a good thing for you to start doing. We also have with us Eleanor or Brian coming from Boston, looking for HR roles in talent acquisition or DEI. And I'll read one more here. We have Jill joining from Phoenix, Arizona, looking for a VP of marketing or director of marketing. Jill, I want to encourage you to look at an organization. It's a membership group called Together Digital, and message me if you're not familiar with that. It's all women in a variety of digital roles, including marketing roles. And we have a national jobs board. There could be some positions in that category. I am wondering who is new with us today. If you are new, go into chat right now and just type in the word new, N-E-W, just type in the word new. And I'm going to call on maybe one or two of you just to ask where you heard about us from. If you wouldn't mind, I'll ask you to unmute yourself. All right, Janine from Chicago was the first one to put new into chat. So Janine, would you mind unmuting yourself? How did you hear about us? And then tell us your targeted job title and remind us of your geographic area.
Hello, I am in Chicago, and I heard about this group from Angie Zautner. And my targeted title is Communications Associate, Copywriter. I'm transitioning from a fundraising 20-year career that was very heavy in writing. I'm very skilled at writing communication as well as speaking and presenting. So any role that kind of is communications oriented, I've been applying to for about 2 years.
Wonderful. Well, we are glad that you found us here, Jill, and great. I'm sorry, not Jill, Janine. I'm looking at comments and reading the other names. Sorry, my mind got a little bit confused there. All right, awesome. Well, we are glad that you found us, and we are going to jump right in, and we're going to get started here this morning with success stories and questions. So if you have a success story that you'd like to share with the group, I want you to go into chat and put the word success, S-U-C-C-E-S-S. And that success could be, I got a job, I got an interview, things are starting to happen on LinkedIn, whatever you deem to be a success, we want to hear about it. And you can share some of that insights with the group. We're also going to ask if you have any questions, type in the word question in all caps, Q-U-E, S-T-I-O-N. I feel like I'm in a spelling bee. And then type in your full question into chat. The reason I want you to put your full question in there is in case we don't get to all the questions today, there may be people that can message you in chat or follow up with you individually. Okay. Don't be shy about doing this. We want to share success stories. We want to hear things are happening for you. And we also want to hear your questions. And if you do not have a success or a question, but you'd like a profile review, put the word profile in all caps, and we will pull up your LinkedIn profile, and I'll have some of my all-stars help me to give some feedback on that. All right, I'm looking for one volunteer right now, and I want to see if I have a volunteer in the group who would like to help me with chat, because you can see chat's lighting up right now. And I need somebody to help me keep track of who is next for success stories and for the questions. In past VIP office hours, the people who have volunteered to help tend to get jobs. And I don't know that there's a direct correlation, but I'm not saying there's not one. Volunteering and keeping yourself visible sometimes puts good karma out to the universe, and sometimes that's all you need, right? to start to get those opportunities that are coming up. All you need to do if you are my volunteer, and by the way, put volunteer in chat right now if you want to do this. All you need to do if you want to volunteer to help me today is just kind of look through chat right now and notice who is saying success and who says question or who says profile, and help, just jot those down, because then when I say who's next, you can help me with that. All right, Eleanor, I sold you on it. Eleanor is going to be my volunteer for today. Thank you so much. So the other thing I'd like to do is when we do the Q&A, I've gotten some feedback that it might be better to have a shorter list of all-stars helping with that today instead of the full group, so that we can get through more questions. So if that's okay, what I'd like to do is I want to see if I can get 3 of my all-stars to volunteer to help with questions. If you would like to be one of those people to help with questions, I want you to use the raise hand feature right now. So if you go into your reactions at the bottom, click on raise hand, and we'll do like 3 or 4 people to help out with that. So far, got myself, Mindy, Jay, maybe 1 more or 2 more, and then we'll move on. Okay. Going once, twice. Okay, I'll just ask the rest of the group just to be respectful of the hour. Actually, we got Sue, so that'll make a perfect 4. For the rest of the hour, if you do want to contribute feedback, can I ask you a favor? Can you submit that feedback through chat or raise your hand and wait for me to call on you? I want to make sure we're not talking over each other as we're going throughout here today. Okay, I love your feedback. I just want to make sure we get through the questions, and I want to be respectful of the time that we've all come together here today. All right, so let's get this going here. Eleanor, you are my volunteer. So who do we see first? Do we see a success story or a question? If you could read that name off and unmute yourself as you're doing so.
Our first success story is Brian G.
All right, Brian, can you please unmute yourself, sir? What is your success?
Through your guidance, even though I haven't changed my LinkedIn background yet, but I landed at a substance abuse clinic, and that helps me with finances and all of that good stuff. It limits my ability to network and all that. So I will tell all of you what Brenda has told me, find the time. So I spend an hour or a half hour minimum during the work week on LinkedIn early in the morning and late at night, so I don't lose contact with anybody. And I follow up on leads and connections, and do about 2 hours over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday, so I don't lose contact. And to show you how topsy-turvy it is, I was at this clinic a few years ago. They changed ownership and promised me it was less unstable. And in the last 6 days, we've lost our program director and 3 case managers. So still looking for that dream job in coaching and training, but I will advise all of you to jump in and sign up for Brenda's course. It's a lot of support and great guidance on moving forward, but at least I can breathe financially now, which is nice.
I am so happy to hear, Brian, and really delighted for you. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I think the advice I heard from you was, don't give up. If there's an opportunity, it could come around again. It's like a little bit of a carousel. Sometimes people don't work out in positions, and sometimes, there's a future position that opens up. So keep those communications going with those folks. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, Brian. All right, I'm going to bring the all-stars up and ask you to one by one introduce yourselves. So let me figure out how to do this. I wish I had Christopher Johnson with me here. All right, so I think I'm going to add a spotlight. Let's see, how do I do this? Spotlight for everyone. Okay, Jay, I'm going to have you introduce yourself, and then we will go to Sue and then Mindy. So Jay, if you could please go ahead, take a minute or two to introduce yourself.
I'll keep it brief. I'm a career coach based in the New York area, and I love helping people figure out what they want to do next and to get there. I very much enjoy the very beginning part of the process, helping people sort through what they want to do next, clarifying their focus, and then developing a networking plan. I very much, I just want to urge people in these next couple of weeks, there's a lot that can happen. In the fourth quarter, a lot of things happen. So I would get out and talk to a heck of a lot of people, go to events, virtual, on-site, because this is when you can meet people, because companies are finalizing budgets, maybe revising budgets. Maybe in January, they don't have the budget line yet, but they need to bring somebody in on a consulting basis to get things done. So it's a good time to be active in the search. So glad to be here. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jay. Okay, Sue, you are up next. If you could please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Sue. I'm known as the mentor with pom-poms. I don't have them today because they wouldn't fit in my carry-on. I'm traveling. I have a global mentoring practice, work with people at all in transitions of various kinds. And my focus is helping you have evidence-based results and achievements by excavating your evidence. Thank you. On to, I think it was Mindy.
Thanks, Sue. Hey, good morning, everyone. I am a career coach. I love helping professionals understand what they need to do next. I believe in empowering yourself because you are the CEO of your own career. No one cares and knows enough about your career as you do. And so I collaborate with my clients and we talk about what's next in your step? What next step are you taking? I love these calls, love to talk to job seekers world over. And I host a monthly accelerator call. That Accelerator is a private LinkedIn group that you're welcome to join. Just let me know. I'll put some information in the chat for you guys. Next month on December 7th, we're hosting a speaker who will talk about what you absolutely must do and right now to get ready for 2023 for job seekers. You're all welcome to join a free event every month. Brenda, thanks for hosting. I'm sending it back to you.
All right, wonderful. Okay, so we are going to move on to some questions here. Eleanor, you're my volunteer. Could you find the first question and read off the person's name, please?
The first question comes from Kara Miller. She would
Okay.
also like a profile review.
All right, Kara, profile review. How are you doing today, Kara? Can you unmute yourself, please?
Doing good, thank you. Yes, I actually have a question about, I think it's a new feature. I kind of discovered it accidentally. When you know how you can rearrange your skills, you, Brenda, had given some advice to us before, rearrange your skills, add skills, max your skill set.
Yes.
Because recruiters do look at skills. Recruiters do look at skills when they look for you on LinkedIn. I have a proof of that. From recruiter that they found me by looking at the skills, just searching. So here's my question. I did it recently, and on my LinkedIn profile, I did two things. I sort of went from very general, almost like a summary of the resume headline to not summary, I'm sorry, summary, but I added a little bit more of kind of like a biography or kind of like my work history. And I'm happy, to hear an advice on that, if it's clear how my journey was in a work world. And then
so
also,
Kara, if you don't mind, I'm going to jump in and just ask a question. Could you please remind us, what is your targeted job title? What are you looking to do?
sales or marketing operations manager or analyst.
Okay, so I just heard you say sales or marketing operations manager or analyst. I would recommend that you have that in your headline field. I know you said sales and marketing operations, but I don't know, are you looking for a coordinator role, a manager role, a director role, a VP? I would recommend that you have a job title designation area in there so that it's clear to me. And if you're, another technique you could do, I see you did it with events and campaigns. You use the and for Sam. I don't know how to say that word, but the and symbol instead of the word and, you could do that in the beginning. And that way you get more of the characters towards the front of your headline, if that helps you out. So you said that was a specific question that you had, was your headline.
Actually, I meant summary, but yes, thank you. Headline as well, but meant summary. And mostly what I was looking for, just an advice, how does that look? How does that sound? Because my journey, I started in accounting, then I moved to marketing.
Okay, I'm going to jump in again, if you don't mind, Kira, just in interest of time. I want to make sure that everyone on the call is aware of the fact that most people will not read your full summary statement. They're going to look at the first 4 lines. So as I'm landing on your profile right now, Kira, I'm seeing, that I am a sales operations and I started my career in accounting. Like that's all they're going to see. Most people. Now, the right people are going to click on see more. And also what you put inside here is going to help you to come up in more searches. So I do want you to keep in mind, in the first 4 lines, we have what is the most important and compelling point about yourself as a candidate. So I'm going to refresh your profile again, just so we can see the collapsed version. Give it just a second here. Okay, so I am a sales operations manager, CRM system analyst, a lot of keywords focused on data integrity and helping sales to achieve revenue goals by providing analytical support. That's a mouthful right there, Kira. So I want to encourage you to break that into a smaller sentence. And I want you to think about you're sitting across from your next hiring manager at your dream job, and you've interviewed with them. They know about you, you know, all the background, everything. And they're like, it's between you and a candidate. Why should I hire you? This is kind of like you're summarizing yourself as succinctly as possible and positioning yourself in the best light possible. So for example, and if you like the verbiage, you can watch the YouTube playback or you can play with it a little bit, but you might want to start off by saying, I am an experienced sales operations manager who will hit the ground running for your company to help you with data integrity, to drive sales and increase your revenue to meet your goals this year, period. My analytical support and industry research background will benefit your sales and marketing department through program activations and really understanding your metrics. If you'd like to learn more, please contact me at kiramiller@gmail.com or message me here on LinkedIn. So I just kind of just pulled a couple things from there, Kira, but what I'm trying to do is really make it compelling for them. And you're trying to sell yourself to your next hiring manager. Your LinkedIn profile is not really about you. It's about you as it relates to what can you do for the company. And you're trying to demonstrate to them, you know, your skills, qualification, experience. But I would say if you want to talk about your background, your career in accounting, things like that, that might go a little bit lower in your about statement. And the final piece of advice I'll offer, and then I want to see if the other all-stars want to offer anything. In your about statement, I always encourage people, don't put a line break until after the see more link in there. Let me just refresh it again to show you what I'm referring to. So when we look at the about statement, I would not put the line break, you know, I started my career, I would bring that up so it's all in the same first paragraph. And then in between paragraphs, like in between the word analyst and for, I would do like another line break so that you're airing it out right now. Because right now it's confusing for me to read this all the way through. Okay.
Sure, understand.
I'm going to pause there, Kira, if you don't mind. And I'm going to see if any of the other all-stars would like to offer advice for you. Jay, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I basically agree. And I think you want to be consistent because you have on the headline sales and marketing operations, and the about you have sales operations. I think you want to, and depending on the scale of the company, if they overlap, but if there's one that you're stronger at, you might emphasize that for time being, or at least have it be consistent between the headline and the about section. I absolutely agree. You've got to be. I take a very salesy approach, even though I'm not a salesperson. The about's like, this is what I do. This is what I get done. This is how I can help you. So if there are things other, you know, as increasing revenue, cutting costs, if you help, you know, go to market happen more quickly, it's not the right phrasing. So if you can have some specific deliverables in those 1 or 2 or 3 lines, I think that would be key. And I would absolutely take out the history part of it, because it's too, I mean, you have a great history, you've done a lot of good things. Say what you offer going forward, not even based on your history. This is what I do for you. Put it all in the present tense. That's my quick take. Sorry. Yeah.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. Mindy, anything to add to that?
Yes, really quickly, Kira. What Brenda said about it's hard to read your about section is because of the spacing. And I would love to see some kind of bullet that is eye-catching when you separate. So when you make a line break, put a little bullet in there that is eye-catching, that will drag people's attention there, so that if they do open it, then at least they can focus on certain things. I do like the way you put some bullet points between your skills and expertise, but you need a couple of more to space this out. You have plenty of space here. You do not use all of your space. And so, you know, just make it a little more eye-catching for your readers.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to just briefly comment on that. So what I would suggest to add on to that, Mindy, is Kira, create this in a Word document, and you can use the Word formatting to create the bulleted list. Or if you want to get fancy, you can, put it inside LinkedIn, and then you can access your emoji keyboard from your phone, and you can add like the little green check marks or some other symbol like that in there. All right, Sue, I want to go to you next. What do you have to add for Kira?
Could you scroll down to her first experience that she has? And Kira, this is a point for everybody. That's why I wanted to bring it up. Since LinkedIn gave us the ability to link your skills to your jobs, I'm noticing people do them willy-nilly. I mean, you've got great ones in there, but you're leading with Microsoft Excel, then sales, then Microsoft Office. Those are tools. I tell all my mentees now, put them in reverse priority, the most important ones. It's not going to make a difference in recruiter search, because I've seen the search fields. Those will pass. But it's the message you're sending as people are scrolling down and seeing on the left-hand column the important ones. So this is for everybody, Brenda.
Thank you. And I'm wondering, while we're on the subject of skills, Jay, Sue, and Mindy, have you heard anything yet about we can now link skills to specific positions? And I'm wondering, what is the impact of that on search? My inclination is it should help you. I've not seen any data on that yet. Sue, I see you're nodding your head. Have you heard anything about that yet?
No, I actually researched this last week because I did this for mentor time for the folks that that follow that. And what I found was recruiter search will show skills in it, and it will match it to whatever's in your skills list, because you can't add skills to your job unless they're in your list.
Okay.
But the visual impact for those who are scrolling, and a couple recruiters said, look, I go straight to your experience and I try to get a sense of what you've done and duration, and then I go back to your about section. So for me, it's more the visual impact. You're right, Brenda, there has been silence from LinkedIn on anything other than you can do this now. And I'm hoping John Aspirian and Kevin Turner will someday find that there's some actual data, but it is something I'm following about whether or not it's easier in search to find people.
I'm leaning towards, and this is just my own hypothesis based on my experience being on the network, LinkedIn puts things on your profile for a reason. And similar to Google, Google's not going to say, here's the formula for coming up in the first page of search results, because they want to make sure that who's coming up is the right search, the relevant search. So I have to believe that the more often you have a keyword on your profile, the more likely you'll appear at the top of search results when people look for that keyword. But, my recommendation on skills is there's spaces for 50. So put all 50 in there, because that will help you to come up in more search results. We have heard that before. And then if you go in and you click on the pencil icon to edit the skills, you can click on the top pencil, and then you click on the second pencil. And then you basically link, kind of click on where have you used this skill. And I have to think that the more often we have that skill that appears in multiple sections on our profile, the more likely we'll be to come up in search results. Data's still out on that, so it is just a soft hypothesis at this point, but it's an educated guess from somebody who's a heavy user on the platform. All right, Kira, was that helpful for you today? All right.
Very much so. I appreciate it. I constantly change it. So any additional change and advice, very valuable. I appreciate everybody.
Thank you so much, Kira. All right, Eleanor, who is next? Do we have any other success stories? We'll kind of go
We
back
do
and
have
forth.
another success story. We have Laura, is it Slits? I'm not sure on the pronunciation. She has a success story for us.
All right, Laura, what's going on with you? Laura, can you talk? Paging Laura. Laura to the front of the room. Laura, your video.
Sorry, I thought I hit unmute and I was talking.
All right, not a problem. How are you?
Good. So schlicked rhymes with picked. I picked schlicked for the team.
All right, wonderful.
And anyway, so I have an in-person interview this afternoon. So it's my first one to date. No pressure, but there's like a foot of snow on the ground. So I'm hoping, one of my concerns here among all the concerns is what to wear, because I don't have extensive snow interview apparel, but I'll do my best.
Awesome. So do any of the All-Stars want to offer Laura any advice on her upcoming interview? Jay?
Oh, I mean, not about apparel, right? This is absolutely. Well, I think if you haven't had it for a while, the main thing is, well, two things. You want to engage people. You want it to be as much as possible conversational. If you can shape it that way, the interviewer may or may not allow that, but do that. Definitely have look at the 3 or 4 or 5 main requirements in the position and have a success story for each one. How have you helped your last company make or save money exercising that skill in your work? And then, because we all can say, I do this well and that well, and I'm not a very good storyteller, but I know that when I tell a story, people pay a little bit more attention to it. It seems a little bit more valid. One thing I find very helpful when I'm working with people is to look at the recommendations people give and get, even though it's at the very bottom. It seems like, oh, it's quid pro quo. People just write about each other. Because that and the about section are the only really free form parts of LinkedIn, where people can create language in their own way. And actually, if you look at the recommendations people give, the interviewer gives, that gives you some sense of what they value. Either, oh, he's really good, really hard hitting, he gets to the point, okay, this person wants you to be exacting, or he's a very kind person, draws people out. So that might be telling. And of course, the recommendations people get. So I'm not saying the only thing to look at, but I would pay some attention to that.
Great advice. Thank you, Jay. And I'll just ask for the other All-Stars, raise your hand if you want to add anything. I see Mindy's hand is raised, so I'll call on her and then we'll move on.
Yeah, Laura, congratulations on getting that interview. Now we need to seal the deal, right?
Yeah.
So number one, you need to know your accomplishments inside and out. And I agree with Jay, it should be in a story format. And so the more stories you have in your tool belt, I like to prepare people with a tool belt of stories, things that you've accomplished in a story format. How did you make something happen? For sure. You need to have at least, I don't know, I usually recommend 5 or 6 stories that you can pull out depending on what the question is. Also, this should be a dialogue. Should not be just you answering questions. You need to start opening dialogues so that you have great questions to ask them about also. And that should not include how much vacation time do I get? It should be something that is about their company, about something that you really want to know about, and something that can really get you to the next level. So it showcases you as the right candidate to select.
I had an interview 2 jobs ago with a chief development officer, and the entire interview was him saying, well, what else do you want to know? What else do you want to know? So it was like an hour of me asking questions, but I think it was not a bad way to do an interview because it showed what I was thinking about, what I already knew. It showcased a lot of, I know I was already far enough. I had already had a few interviews with the company at that point already. But I think that was the first time I was, I think was it Aristotle who always, taught by asking questions, so it's an Aristotle style interview.
I love that. So you are prepared with your questions, I assume, Laura.
I am, yeah.
Good luck, Laura. And just remember, it's as much about you interviewing them as it is they interview you. And I always like to ask the question when I was a job seeker, I would always ask the question, what was it about my resume or background that prompted you to call me in for this interview? Because that'll give you some leverage right there. If they say you have XYZ experience and we're not seeing that in other candidates or something like that. Does that help you out, Laura?
Yeah, and actually I was on another call and another job coach had said his favorite last question is, right. So a lot of people ask, what is it that you might think I might be missing, which tends to get that interviewer to look for that. His suggestion was basically, what is it that's going to make me successful? When you think about me here in a year, what is it that you see in me that is going to prompt, that is going to ensure that I'm successful? And that shifts their mindset to thinking about the ways that you can be successful rather than the ways that you're going to come up short.
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, just 2 quick things, picking up what you just said. Some people I know have said toward the end of the interview, it's a great match. I'd love to get to the next step. What else? Put it on yourself, not on them. Like, what else should I tell you about that? What haven't I talked to you about that will move us to the next step? The other thing is the best book that for everyone on onboarding, of course, is the first 90 days. So I somehow find a way to incorporate, not even saying that, just what are some of the more immediate needs of the job? What do you need for me to do in the first month or 2 months in a job? It shows you're practical and looking to get something done for them. Thank you.
Awesome.
Brenda, can I chime in real quick on one follow-up to Jay's great question?
Sure. And I'll just remind
Uh,
everyone too, if you're not speaking, if you wouldn't mind, please muting and then just use the raise the hand feature because it makes it a little bit easier for me to find you. But go ahead, please, Megan.
So one of the things, Laura, that I love asking at the end is, oh, you know what? Now as I'm leaving, are there any books or podcasts that you would recommend I check out that might give me insight into the culture of the organization? Because then as a follow-up in your thank you note, you can say, oh, and I've already listened to X, Y, and Z, or I ordered this book, or I read this chapter, or that kind of thing. That also is going to tell you if they prioritize professional development and can tell you what framework they use in their culture.
No, that's a really good point. You know, I've struggled with the research on this company because it's a private, super small company. So that's a great point.
So just kind of ask that question. Or is there what professional development have you recently done with your leadership or with your team during COVID? So.
All right.
All right. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to keep us moving along. Thank you, Laura, and good luck with your interview tomorrow. Good vibes sending your way. Hope it goes well for you. And please let us know next week, if you're able to attend, what happens there. Okay. All right. We're going to keep us moving along. Eleanor, who do we have next? Do we have another question?
Next, we have David Mills with a request for a look at his profile. He does need time, please.
David, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm okay. I hope you be kind when you look at my profile.
David, could you please remind us what is your targeted job title and your geographic area?
Yeah, there we are.
Okay.
Looking to become a junior data analyst, also looking at entry-level market research roles.
Okay. All right. So first thing, I am not familiar with New Hampshire. I would go
it's
in
north of Boston by an hour.
Okay, so I would change your geographic area. There's a way that you can do this in the top header card. I'm going to show you real quick here. You go to the very top of your profile. LinkedIn's going slow. By the way, LinkedIn had an outage yesterday. I don't know if anyone experienced that big old hiccup. If you're on my email list, I sent out an email, and if it happens again, please feel free to message me, or you can't message me on LinkedIn, email me and say what's going on LinkedIn, and I'll look into it and tell you if it's you in jail or if it's everyone.
Okay.
But I clicked on the gray pencil icon. I'm in my top header card. I'm going to scroll down to the box that says city. And instead of choosing your city, choose the block that has metropolitan area. There's going to be two options, your city and the greater metro area. That does two things. One is, if I'm not familiar with, New Hampshire, Boston I'm familiar with because it's a bigger city. So it helps me to geographically know where in the world you're located. And the second, perhaps more importantly, is it expands the geographic area in which you'll come up in more searches. So basically what happens right now is if you have a city like Concord, it's the central radius point for your searches, for your search results. If people are looking for candidates.
Oh, it's all right. Where there was just Concord, New Hampshire, and people don't.
Yeah, so I would make it a little bit bigger. All right. The other thing, David, I'm going to give you some direct feedback. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Headshot photo. I want to see, this is a pleasant smiling photo of yourself. Ideally, this should be a professional looking image, not a selfie, because this is the first impression that people are getting of you. Having said that, I know a lot of us are in career transition, unemployed. We don't have a lot of budget. So I'm going to give you a couple of suggestions on alternatives for a professional looking headshot photo if you were to consider replacing what you have.
Yeah, this is a selfie, incidentally.
Okay, go to a place that offer passport photos. A lot of times they will give you the opportunity to put that on a disk or a jump drive or email it to you. They have a clear background. Make sure that the attire that you are wearing when you get that photo taken is similar to what you would wear in an interview. Now, the only thing we're going to see is like your head and shoulders. So don't worry about, wearing the fancy shoes, but make sure that you look your best possible in there.
You mentioned passport photos. Passport photos are the very worst.
Well, but what I'm saying is they have white background, a clear background. That's one thing you could. Another thing you could do is you can take photos of yourself in a selfie, but prop your phone up and put the timer on it so that you're not getting that weird selfie angle that happens when you do photos of yourself. So put it on a bookshelf or pillows or something. Make sure that you've got a clear angle. Make sure that you're smiling and you're pleasant looking in the photo. The third would be find a place that offers headshot photos. If you have the budget to do so, you could go to a photo studio like a JCPenney or Olin Mills or whatever those places are, or you can hire a professional headshot photographer. David, this is the first impression you're giving of people. And we don't want it to seem, we don't want to like start you off on the wrong foot. We want to start it off on the best light possible. I hope that feedback is okay for you.
Okay.
All right. Jay, I'm going to go and see if you have any suggestions for David next.
On that section right there, this is where or on a different side, I would say the work rather than the title. Junior data analyst might be a little too specific. It might be too specific to like a large organization. So why not say analysis? Because that's what you do. Data analyst. And then I see, so I would put that broader functions beginning research / data analysis or analysts, then certifications, and then just a slight change in order.
Okay.
Also,
so put Tableau desktop specialist last. And
I just said move the data analysis earlier on, because that's the focus of what you're offering is data analysis. And then, and you would know this better than me, I would imagine that would go first, and then research is part of the function of a data analysis.
Okay.
You're not a researcher, you're a data analyst.
Gotcha.
You is help with research. I would just change that order. Just put the data first, keep the others the same. And just if I can ask you, and I don't know, are these the three main, I'll use the word tools that people use now currently? And if they are, great. And if they're not, maybe change the order, or if there's one other that you're learning, get it up there. That's just on the headline. And yeah, that's my quick take. Sorry.
All right. Sue, do you have any advice to offer David on his profile?
Yeah, I put a note in the chat. David, even if it's the selfie, as Brenda was saying, prop the camera up. And if you can, try to turn it around with a timer, but make sure it's at eye level, because I'm going to point out to you something we're all dealing with. You're looking up and you're getting the chin. Also, I agree with taking junior off, because when you tell me this, and I know I heard this at one other meeting, I'm thinking, oh, but he's got other make him look like he's more senior than that. So I don't know where the ability to take what you're doing and what you're experiencing. I'd focus on the experience, not so much I want a junior data analyst position.
Because junior's the one that's more for the beginner people.
Right, but you can search for that, but you don't have to advertise it, as Jay was saying. There are other ways to talk about it, even using words like as opposed to junior.
I was going to say the same thing, aspiring data analyst.
Right.
Right, because then, yeah. All right, Mindy, anything to add to that?
Yeah. Okay, so David, we all have cell phones. And if you don't want to go to JCPenney's, find a white background in your home, find a wall, or get a piece of oak tag and have somebody take 30 pictures of you in different smiling, non-smiling, whatever you like, photos of you, so you can take a look at that. And then I recommend everyone go to Photo Feeler, which is I think it's photofeeler.com, where you can upload your pictures and you have 40 random people let you know what they think is best for you. They rank you. And so I strongly suggest doing that. It's free, and you get to rank other people also, which is kind of fun. So I recommend doing that. Yes, they rank you on competency, likability, influence. And that way, you know what other people are thinking about that picture, not just what your loved ones think about it.
Two things. Well, first of all, I don't have the ability to just put out a beautiful, magnificent smile like a lot of people do. That's kind of my natural expression. And secondly, someone said something about my blue background, that I shouldn't have that.
It's the blue background it's kind of like it's a neutral background. What I would recommend is use something that is more intentional for your industry. So if you're talking about research or data analyst, you could find some stock photos from a site like pexels.com, for example. These are free stock photos. So if I were to type in, I'm just going to say data research, and I might be able to find something that's more intentional for the background, even if it's a chart or something like that.
Like
versus
tractor grass or something like that. Okay.
Yeah, something that's a little bit more intentional. And I get the thing on the smile, David. Some people it's hard to smile, and some people it's almost cultural. They don't feel comfortable smiling.
Yeah.
And for different reasons in their personal lives and their personal backgrounds on there. Can you? You don't have to show us your teeth, but can you just a little bit on the?
I can try.
Yeah, just.
I know. Like ladies can just magically flash an incredible smile and then it disappears. Yeah. I can't do that. you gotta like believe that you can too. Like try to work on the smile. I believe that you can, David. I believe there's probably moments that you have happiness in your life and you know, you do light up. And I think sometimes it's mind over matter. It's almost like you know, we have this job seeker mantra, and I actually want to pause and do this right now. But we have this job seeker mantra that we do here inside the group. We haven't done it for a while. We're going to do it right now. So I'm going to invite everyone to participate in this. Give me just a second to pull it up. And part of the reason I created this is because when we are in career transition, unemployed, in between successes, not working, whatever you want to call it, we tend to say things to ourselves in our brain. And your brain believes whatever you say to yourself. So if you say, oh, I'm never going to find a job, you're going to have a really hard time finding a job because you just told yourself that you're never going to find a job. Or if you say, oh, you know, I wasn't as smart as I thought I was, or, you know, if I only did this, and, you know, you start to kind of get in your own head with it. So what I want to do is I'm going to have us say this right now. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have you guys hold up a hand. It can be your right hand or your left hand. It's not legally binding. So open up whichever hand that you want right now. And you're going to hold it up with me right now. Okay. I'm going to say the line, and then you're going to repeat it back to me as a group. So I want everyone to unmute themselves right now as we do this. So I'm going to say the line. You're going to repeat it back to me as a group. Okay. So here we go. This is temporary.
This is temporary.
I am awesome.
I am awesome.
You are too.
That much. So I want you to think about it. I want you to feel it in your heart when you say it this time. And you can speak a little louder if you need to. I am awesome.
I am awesome.
All right, we got it up a little bit on that one. Very good. And then I want you to point to somebody else on screen right now and say, and you are awesome.
And you are awesome.
There you go. I am valuable.
I am valuable.
Yes, you are. I will find another job.
I will
find another job.
Good. The black hole isn't the only way.
The black hole isn't the only way.
We're going to talk about that in a second here. I am in control of my future.
I am in control of my future.
And using LinkedIn can help to give me power.
And using LinkedIn
can help give me power.
Plus, by attending today, I am a step ahead.
Attending today, I am a step ahead.
All right, give yourself a round of applause. You're awesome, God. Great job, everyone. And I want you to put yourselves back on mute here. I want to talk about this for just a minute. The part of the reason I came up with this is, Cindy, you just said it. Mindset is very important. What we tell ourselves, what we tell our brain is what we believe. And I am a big believer in having a positive mindset and saying affirmations, saying things in the positive, in the affirmative, whether they are current or future facing, because your brain starts to believe it as you move forward. So I want you to remember, this is temporary. Where you are in your life right now, this is a blip in your history. That's all this is. Being unemployed right now at the end-ish of a pandemic, right? In the economy that we're in and the world that we're in 2022, this is temporary. You're going to look back someday and go, wow, that happened, right? So I want you to remember that this is just a little stop on your travel. You are awesome and you are valuable. And I want you to know that even if you do not get a paycheck and you do not have a job title with an employer, you still have your experience. You have your passion, you have your knowledge, and you take that with you, that passion, that knowledge, all the stuff that you've gained over the years, you take that with you wherever you go. They cannot take that from you. I want you to remember that you are awesome and you are valuable. You take all of that with you wherever you go. They cannot take that away from you. I want you to remember that you will find another job. And catch yourself saying, I'm never going to find another job. I'm never going to get a job. Stop yourself and say 2 or 3 times, I will find another job. I will find another job. Because of the fact that
did she pay you the right amount for November?
We've got a couple people unmuted. Make sure that you mute yourself. We got some background noise. I know we're all kind of like working from home and we might have little ones and whatnot around us or other family members. All right, I think I got it. You will find another job. So if you catch yourself saying, I'm never going to find another job, stop it and say to yourself out loud, I will find another job. I will find another job, because we want to retrain our brain to think in the affirmative. The black hole isn't the only way. I hate the black hole. If you hate the black hole, go into chat right now and tell me how much you hate the black hole. The black hole of job search. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's soul sucking and soul crushing. You apply to job upon job upon job, and it's a full-time job looking for a job. And I am so passionate about my hatred. I don't hate a lot of things, but I do hate the black hole. The feeling like you cannot control what happens to you, and you put yourself out and you're keeping your fingers crossed and you upload your resume and cover letter, and then you got a questionnaire to do, right? Oh my gosh, why is this like the way that it is? The black hole is not the only way. I want you to remember you are in control of your future. You cannot control what happened to you yesterday, 3 months ago, a year ago. You can control what you do today. You've done so by being on today's phone call. You could have sat in front of the TV or, you know, stayed in bed early this morning or done a million other things, but you chose to come on here, hopefully because you knew you were going to get some inspiration. You were going to get some new LinkedIn strategy tips. Maybe you're going to be smiling because maybe we told some jokes or stories that brightened your day, but you are doing something today that is taking control of your future. So kudos to you, my friend. By using LinkedIn, you will gain more power over time. By being on today, you're a step ahead. The techniques that we share with you here today are essentially, we're helping you to plant seeds across LinkedIn and across your network. Now, we don't know which seed that's going to sprout up for you. Was it that piece of advice that Sue offered earlier, or the tip that Mindy gave you, or was it that new connection that you made here within the group that led you to a referral? We don't know, but we do know that the more seeds that you plant out there on LinkedIn and through your network, the shorter the duration that you'll be in job search mode and the quicker you'll be back to working again. So I want you to remember all of that. Does the black hole include when you don't hear back from a company after an interview? Heck yeah, it does. I mean, that's a whole soul-sucking part of it right there. All right, we got about 5 minutes left, so maybe we'll do one more question if that's okay, and then I'll keep the Zoom open if you want to stay on for networking. But Eleanor, could you find one more question from the group and read off the name?
The last question is from Sarah Witt.
Okay. Sarah, how are you today? Can you unmute yourself?
Hi, yes, I'm good. Thank you.
Good. What's your question for us?
I've just been doing a lot of different LinkedIn webinars and things, and I have been to some job coach sessions, and I keep hearing different things about adding the open to work on your LinkedIn profile. And I'm kind of in a spot where I think it makes sense, but then a lot of people are telling me not to do it, and I'm using LinkedIn more now than I ever have. So I just want to make sure I'm doing the things that make the most sense to help me. So any clarity on that would be awesome.
Great question. I'm going to give you my own personal take on it, and then I'm going to ask the other All-Stars to see what they have. Before I tell you my take on it, I want to just share with you, Sarah, I was at a recruiter conference about 2 weeks, I think it was about 2 weeks ago now. And there was about 150 recruiters in the room from mainly Michigan, but across North America. And I was presenting on LinkedIn and I was helping them look better and do better on LinkedIn. And I asked the question when we were talking about headshot photo, I said, I'm curious, how many of you in the room like to see candidates' profiles that have the open to work, that green symbol on them? Half of the hands went up in the room. And then I said, okay, hands down. How many of you do not like to see that, or you don't really look out for it on profiles? The other half of the hands went up in the room, and then they went down. And we talked about it a little bit, but it was essentially you have to figure out what is right for you. Some recruiters like to see it because they know immediately that you are open to work, and it makes it really easy for them to see that. Other people say, it makes them look a little desperate, or it's not something I actively look out for. It's kind of split on there. Personally, for me, if I was in career transition and actively looking for a job, I would not put it on my profile. And I might change my opinion if my job search was taking a little bit longer, because it does give you some additional visibility there. But I would rather have people come to my profile, read about me and my background, and then make a statement in my about section that says, I'm currently looking for my next director of marketing position in Metro Detroit. I'd rather let them discover that then put it out there. That's my own personal philosophy on that. I'm going to go to Mindy first, and then I want to see if Sue has anything to share. And then I see Stuart has his hand raised. So Mindy, do you have anything to add about that open to work circle? Oh, you are muted. Oh, I get to use my sign.
You are right. Okay. Got it.
There we go.
I got it now, Brenda. It's so funny that you talk about the 50-50 split. I used to be against it. And then I spoke to a bunch of recruiters, and all of them seemed to feel that it costs them money to do a search. And so anything that makes their search easier is something that they're going to appreciate. And the ones that I spoke with, again, there may be difference of opinion. The ones that I spoke with said that this open to work symbol makes it easier for them to select candidates. And they will always go to a candidate that's got the open to work before they'll go to the ones who do not. Again, because it saves them time and money. You have to remember that recruiters are going like this. They have to fill jobs. That's how they get paid. And so anything that takes them longer to do is not going to be appreciated. And anything that shortens the time frame for them to find the right candidates, they appreciate. That's the philosophy of those who appreciate it. Again, it's a personal preference, but that is, I'm just giving you the opinion that I heard from recruiters that I've spoken with.
All right, Sue, anything to add to that?
I found Mindy's information interesting, and Brenda, I'm in your camp, but what I know is that now I think for over a year. And so the effect of it being on people's profiles is much more blunted now. People, when it first came out, we were all like, oh, open to work, open to work. It's more acceptable, I guess I would say, because it's not a big deal. A lot of people have it. So if you want to do it, I think Brenda's advice is good. Start without it. See what you can do. Make sure you sign up for LinkedIn jobs. More and more of my mentees are getting jobs appropriate to them through their job searches. They are really doing a great job sourcing jobs. And then if you need it, put it on is one way for you to do your own test. Thanks, Brenda.
All right, thank you. All right, Stuart and then Megan.
Thank you very much. Great session. Just wanted to check next Friday. Are you having your meeting or not?
Yes. So I'm not sure if you were on at the beginning of the call, Stuart. I said, like, we're going to
Sorry, I had problems.
No, you're fine. And I'm glad that you asked this because there were probably others that joined as well, because we were at like 38 and we're at like 42 right now. So this will be every Friday through the end of the year. There may be a Friday where I can't make it, and I'll ask if somebody else can serve as host in the meantime. But yeah, we'll be here every week. Thank you. All right, Megan, did you have something that you wanted to add?
Yeah, there's two different schools of thoughts. I'm going to go with both what Mindy, Sue, and you have said of it helps a recruiter, especially it's eye-catching. But here's an alternative thought to that. If you are looking and applying via LinkedIn and you see a job and it has a recruiter's name next to it, don't hesitate to send them a message and say, hey, just so you know, I did apply for your job and it may not look like I'm looking. However, I was impressed with your company and this is why I'm applying. So that they can kind of have the idea that you're clarifying that. I did that last night to 3 different positions that were open. All 3 people accepted my invitation to connect because I was just clear that, you know what, it doesn't say that I'm looking. It looks like I have a full-time position. However, I'm still looking for additional opportunities. So just don't hesitate. Instead of prioritizing the open to work circle, prioritize your message and really tracking those recruiters or another connection at the company, even if it's not the recruiter.
So thank you, Megan. Sue, I see your hand is raised. Do you have something you'd like to add to that? Oh, you're muted. Give a second. No, nothing to add? Okay. All right, she's waving no, nothing to add. All right, so as we start to wrap up here today, I want to give you a couple of few reminders on things that are happening and some things you should know about as well. First, I want to remind you, if you have not already joined, please go into the chat right now and join our LinkedIn group. This is it's called VIP Job Seeker Resources by Meller Marketing. It is a private unlisted group. Unlisted means you can't search for it in the group's directory and find it. unless you're a member, then you can find it, but you're not going to be able to search for it. So the only way you find out about it is through me, by being on the Friday calls or getting on my email list for job seekers. So do join that. When you first come to it, you'll get a message saying request. It'll say request to join. You have to click on that button, and then I'll get like a pending, request to join. And what I do is I screen people in just quickly. I'll give you guys a once over. I make sure that the people here are looking like they are job seekers or are a part of the call. I keep the wrong people out of the group is what I'm saying there. I'm not going to get the financial planners and the pyramid scheme people. I'm going to keep them out of the group. So this is only open to people that are inside here. And by the way, this is a super active group. If I were you, I would go into this group like once a week and see what people are posting, because you're going to find jobs, you're going to find resources, you're going to find links to events. And by the way, I just put in here, in the past week, I put a post, it's pinned at the top, and I want you to go in and introduce yourself in there, just like you do inside the Zoom chat. I want you to go into this thread on this group post and introduce yourself. Tell us your targeted job title, your targeted geographic area, and actually you don't need your LinkedIn URL because we can click to go to your profile. But you never know when someone in the group might just do a once over on here and go, oh, I just heard about a senior human resource position in Philadelphia. Oh, Katie Kelly, I'm going to reach out to her. So please use the group. What I always like to do is like go in the group and find a post or 2 or 3 to engage with first, like it, add a comment, that kind of thing. And then if you have something to share, then share it after. So it's kind of like the reverse of the, on the airplane, they say like put your own mask on first before helping other passengers. When it comes to groups in LinkedIn, it's really best to help other people first before you help yourself. That's how you're going to build up social media karma on the network. So do check out that group, request to join, and I'll be happy to admit you inside the group if I know that you're a part of the job seeking community or this very awesome panel of experts and all-stars who help me. The other thing I want to mention, and Brian alluded to it at the beginning, I am in the process of working on a new digital course to help you with personal branding on LinkedIn for the experience rich, meaning if you're age 50 or above, during your job search. If you're on my job seeker list, you will get notification about some upcoming webinars on that topic. They'll be in early December, and the course will be opening up in early January. So if you're not already on my job seeker list, you can go to this website, mellermarketing.com/job seeker. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, actually right on here, there's a little join now, join my VIP job seeker list. If you are getting emails from me on a regular basis, you're already on there. Okay. If you're not getting emails from me, make sure that you when you first sign up, you have to do the double verification thing. So you'll get like a opt-in email that says you have to click here in order to get messages from me. And if you were getting messages and you're not seeing them anymore, go in your spam folder or your junk folder on your email, because sometimes my emails get routed over there because I do use a provider called Kajabi that sometimes gets triggered for spam messages. So I want to make sure I'm getting in your inbox if you want my messages. If and when you are ready to unsubscribe from the job seeker list, but you still want to get emails from me, I give you the ability to do so. You can just unsubscribe from the job seeker communications. And by the way, we've got this really awesome checklist for people who are unemployed in career transition, whether you have recently been laid off or let go, or you've been out for a while. Check out this download. If you go to mellermarketing.com/do this now, all you need to do is type in your name and email address, and you can download that. And you can share it along as well. If there's others that are in career transition, I would highly encourage you to share that link with others as well. All right. I think that is it. I want to thank all of you for being on today. This was an amazing call. I hope you found some value in it. I hope I made you smile. I hope you got some good tips and resources. I want to thank Eleanor for being our very, very special helper for today. Hopefully we've created some good mojo for you, Eleanor, in your job search, and you'll have some good news for us soon. I also want to thank those all-stars that were helping out with the call today. Mindy, I think Jay might have stepped off. Mindy and oh, there you are. You popped down to my bottom. I'm sorry. And then Jude as well. Mindy, do you have anything that you're working on right now, time sensitive upcoming events that you want to tell us about as we start to wrap up?
Sure. December 7th, it's right after Thanksgiving. We're hosting our next accelerator call. It's a Wednesday. It's always from 11 to 12. It's on Zoom. Anyone who wants an invitation, you are more than welcome. We're talking about what you must absolutely, positively must do before 2023 to get a jump start on next year. So you're always welcome to join. There's never a fee to join the accelerators. Just shoot me a message. I'm happy to get you the invitation. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Mindy. Feel free, if you have a link that you want to give people, you can drop that in chat as well before you drop
in
off.
Chat.
All right. Wonderful. Jay, is there anything time sensitive you're working on that you want to tell us about?
Not really. I'm sorry to say that. I'm just busy enjoying posting on LinkedIn and engaging people. Thank you so much for asking.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you for being with us and for helping out here today. Is Jude still on, or did Jude leave? I always want to say, hey, Jude, when I call her up to the front and I can't see her in there. Megan Voges, are you still doing the interviewing club? Is that happening, or is that not happening?
There's a couple of doing interviews. So unfortunately, no, my schedule has not allowed to do that, but that doesn't mean that you can't access the interview club questions, and I'll repost those again in the job seeker group where
Wonderful.
You can kind of just huddle up a couple people and do it. So.
All right, wonderful. And Megan, for those that might be new to our Friday office hours, if you have a link that you want to put in chat before you leave here, that would be awesome as well.
Yeah, I can do that. If you connect with me and message me too, I can also make sure that you got it, but I'll try to do that right quick for y'all. So, and great call. And to everybody, happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Be grateful for what you do have, right? So take a step back and look at this room. There's 30 plus people. There were 60 when we started, right? Be grateful. And Brenda and Mindy and everybody and Jay and I mean, just Sue, and I keep naming everybody. Thank you for being on the call and supporting each other. So
yeah, and I want to just do a read off quickly of the names for everybody who was on the call. Thank you so much for making this a part of your Friday. Happy Thanksgiving and enjoy pie to all of you. Thank you to Nancy, Jay, Megan, David, Mindy, Angela, Angie, Claudette, David, Dean, Dorothea, nice to see you. Eleanor, thank you for your help. Elizabeth, Gerard, Janine, Jeff, nice to see you again, sir. Jennifer, Jerry Jones, Jill Jones, Joan, any relation there, by the way? Kira, Laura, Lisa, Michelle, Sarah, Stuart, Teresa, Tom, Veronique, Vic, the pie man. Hope you're having some fabulous pie for Thanksgiving, and Wendy. Again, my name is Brenda Meller with Meller Marketing. I help you get a bigger slice of the LinkedIn pie, and I'm here every Friday to help inspire you and bring out really a fun group of people to give you strategy tips. With that said, I am going to end the YouTube broadcast right now. I will keep the Zoom open for a little bit if you want to stay on for networking. And with that said, have a wonderful weekend, everyone. I will see you all next week. Take care.
Brenda, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
The audio event you did this week, unfortunately I missed it, but where can I find that? It was about the experience rich personal.
Yes. Thank you for asking that question. I'll pull up the link on here. What you'll want to do is, if you want to find out about any of my upcoming events, I actually put them in an events tab on my LinkedIn company page for Meller Marketing. So I'm going to navigate here right now just to show you where those are listed. And then I will also put my company page link into the chat so you can all see that. I frequently post questions. So when I get questions asked of me, I will post the answer as a post on my LinkedIn company page. So if you're not already following the page, I'd love it if you could give a follow. Let me drop the page link inside chat here. And then to answer your question about the upcoming audio events, if you go to the event link it's kind of in the middle, right under the top section of my page, click on events. And you should see all of the upcoming events I have scheduled. Right now, I've got the weekly audio event. I'll post a new link every Monday. So the next one will be this coming Monday, November 21st. I will put this inside of chat right now. And the way that it works with an audio event, if you're not familiar, is audio event means it's broadcast only. There's audio broadcast only. There's no video element that's a part of it. If you do go to this event page and you indicate that you're planning to attend, you'll get an option to add it to your calendar so you'll get the notification. These are not recorded and there is no playback. It's live only. And I do these every Monday. I'm doing these every Monday through the end of the year. I'll probably stop the week of like Christmas, but every Monday through the end of the year for about a half hour, we'll be talking about personal branding tips for the experience rich, those that are aged 50 plus, and focusing on LinkedIn for your personal brand. So if you're interested, you can read through here and I kind of explain. The session will begin with the tips. I might have some experts that I pull up on the audio stage with me. And then if we have some time, we'll do some audience Q&A as well. You don't need to register, but if you do click on the link, you can add it to your calendar, and it is not recorded. There is no playback. So you either get it or you miss it on there. Does that help you out, Nancy?
It does. I would love you to repeat that one sometime in the future.
Yeah, well, this does repeat every Monday. So every Monday from 1 to 1:30
on my calendar, and I had it, but I had a conflict. I just meant that topic would be great.
Oh yeah. I mean, every Monday I'm calling it personal branding for the experience rich. It'll be the same topic. I'll just cover different elements. So this past week we talked about some of the technological elements, and we talked about networking, and we've talked about photos in the past, and our email address looking current. So we talk about some different topics in there. But yeah, you can check out that page and look at that for more information. All right, now I'm going to end it. I'm going to go ahead and end the YouTube. I will keep the Zoom open if you want